Hello, it's Crypto CJ. It's a trade of the day, Monday afternoon / evening Zoom edition. And it's still a good day to be a crypto trader. Bitcoin blasted through 70K up to 72. It's been hanging around there. Ethereum's above 4,000. XRP is up about 20% today. I'm really not finding any specific news, any earth-shaking news about any of this. I just think it's momentum. I'm sure the whales and the powers that be know something that I don't. But anyway, so far most of the markets are looking good. There's a few laggards that aren't moving yet. Some of the older altcoin projects are making some moves. So let's start at the Bitcoin chart. Okay, should be seeing my Bitcoin day chart, and which contains a new feature. This is the trend-based Fibonacci retracement. And I'm actually going to delete this and put it back in to show you how I did it, because we're in price discovery. We broke the all-time high, and it's up to 72.5 at the moment. So I want to figure out where should I sell, if at all, my next portion of Bitcoin. I told you guys last week I was going to sell 25% of my holdings to cash some out. I'm on house money on a couple things, so that's a lot of fun. So I sold Bitcoin. I sold about 20% of what I have on Bitcoin for 70K this weekend, and that filled on Sunday. And Ethereum I sold for 4,000, about the same amount, also on Sunday. So feeling pretty good about that. Plan your trade, train your plan. But let me show you this tool before I forget. I'm going to delete this. It's more of an art than a science. I've got a trend line drawn here at 40K where there was a support level. And so how you use this is you go over here, if you want to use it, to the Gann and Fibonacci tools on TradingView. And I starred this. I hadn't used this in nearly 3 years, so I had to watch a video to remember how to do it. So if you Google trend-based fib extension, there's a couple of short videos in the Google search that'll help you with this. Hopefully what I show you is useful. But I'm going to click this on, and this is a 3-point maneuver to make this work. So I'm starting here on this low, and I'm going to identify a low, a high, which I'm using this value here, and then a retrace. So I've got the low of around 27K, the high of around 49, and then my pullback to 30K. You might remember that in January. Now, I don't have to stop right with my cursor right where that low is. I'm going to pull this out so that it covers my current candles. I'll go as far as I can. And I'm using this trend line as the third point of reference, and I click there, and then that gives me the values. Now you can do a little research and figure out what you want to do. I was way into Fibonacci retracements in, I don't know, mid to late 2020, early 21. Then I just thought it didn't create enough trades for me, and I thought it was kind of a burden to use, so I moved over to indicators. But a lot of traders swear by these. These are mathematical probabilities, the 618, 786, and then 0.5, things like that are what I've got checked on here. And I'll leave this up for a moment, so if you want to screenshot it, you can grab it. But different traders use different things, so this is what I have. I've got some background noise. Can we mute, please? Thank you. So what this does is it gives me a 1.618 value here at just under 76K, then a double value or 2 value up here at right around 85, 84.5. So it's better than nothing and just kind of winging it. So what I got to think about is if I want to sell some more of my Bitcoin up here when and if it hits 85K. I'm not sure if I want to. I might just keep the rest of it and see what happens. But that's what's going on with Bitcoin. Any questions about Bitcoin or the trend-based Fibonacci, or is this just too weird? You don't want to deal with it?
CJ,
Mm-hmm.
so why didn't you use your line that you drew where you start your Fibonacci? Why did you go all the way back to October 23?
Yeah. My understanding of how this tool is how it works is you need a low, a high, and a retrace. So I guess I could have used and I tried to use what was on my screen. So
Okay.
Learn anything while I was gone?
yeah, I got to mute somebody.
It's so cool how that plays into financial charts. And it falls.
Okay, I just muted everybody. So if you want to unmute and say something, you can go ahead and do that. Okay, I should be back to my Bitcoin day chart. So, but yeah, to answer Frank's question, that was the lowest low I saw in the time frame I was dealing with. I found the high and then the retrace. So, I mean, I could have started here and maybe gone up to here and then use this as a retrace, but I thought this had more price, wider of a price variety, and would be more useful. Plus, I was looking for a more intermediate area to make a decision about selling Bitcoin. Okay, well, thank you for that question. I'll bounce over to Ethereum real quick. Now, I don't need a fib-based retracement because we've not hit the all-time high yet on Ethereum. I've got the week chart up instead of the day chart. I'm just showing you that, we still have a ways to go. I've drawn a zone based on the results in December of 21 between 43K and 4,800 and 4,300. So I think that's our next location. I might sell some more of my Ethereum at around 5,000 if it breaks through 4,800, but haven't really decided yet. So any questions on the markets overall, Bitcoin and Ethereum? Okay, let's get on Altcoin Alert and iCoinPro, see if we can find some day charts or day trades and swing trades. So we'll start with Altcoin Alert, and I am on the altcoin radar. I'm going to reload, get the most accurate current data. And the first sort I like to do is an AA score. So today we have AVAX moving almost 16%. Raven, that's one of those older projects, also moving 16%. XYO, I took a spot trade, a swing trade on this on Coinbase last week. I'm down a little bit, but I'm going to hold it for a while. And so I had the AVAX chart up. I did do an alert on this today. Oh, I don't think I took the trade. I was reluctant to short, but we're at let's go to the 5-minute chart first. Okay, we're definitely not in a dip trade situation. Now that we've pretty much confirmed we're in a bull market, you might want to look at if you have access to iCoinPro, they have a what do they call it? Squeeze trades where it comes to where the Bollinger Bands come together, the candles hit the SMA line, this red line, then bounce back up. This can be a pretty good entry. To top of the Bollinger Band, 1.9%, and you can use this in a bull market to, if you're not going to get all the way down to below the Bollinger Bands, where we like to make our entries on the on the 1, 2, 3 dip approach, you can set an alert on the SMA line and take and scalp off of that. It's not something I've really taught before, but I know the iCoinPro system has that. They do encourage more of the 1, 2, 3 dip approach, but those trades are going to be harder and harder to get in the bull market. So keep that in mind. My sort of hybrid approach is catching these dips below the 20 on the RTI. And as you can see, those have done really well. The last few we've had on AVAX. So on the RTI, we had a break up here. It did go against us a little while. So I probably would have had 2 additional purchases and then rode that back up to my original starting point. So at this point, I have three positions. My first one breaks even, and the second and third one do really well. It's a process called ladder buying or dollar cost averaging. I've got videos on how to do that, but yeah, I don't set hard stop losses on long positions in a bull market. I like to take additional purchases, and then I budget my balance accordingly. So, but this would have been about the same type of entry where it breaks above the 20 and dips again. And then once it breaks here, it eventually takes off. So all those trades eventually would have been successful trading when it goes below the 20 on the RTI and then breaks up above. And then more of a trend-based trade would be this one here, where it breaks above the 50 value. And then we use the cumulative delta indicator for confirmation on those trend-based trades. And we didn't really have that until this big green candle here. So I might have waited maybe one more candle, gotten in on this one to get that confirmation. And then it takes off. So what do we do with this information? I like to set alerts on TradingView, and I'll show you some easy ones to set. If you want to go back to the 5-minute and try to catch this at the Bollinger, is it when it breaks down to the SMA line, you can go across from the SMA line, right click and set a price alert. I usually use the information source as the name, AA score purchase. I've used that a lot, so it remembers it. And I'm going to notify on my app on my phone, pop up on my computer screen, and play a sound also on my computer screen. And for this one, I'd probably use 3 notes reverb or something like that. But I prefer alerts on the 15-minute chart on indicators. So there's a couple ways to go about this. You can also take, on the trend trading side, wait a little longer until it breaks above the 80. And in a strong bull market, it'll keep going. So we had that here. That happened right here. And so that would have been a good entry. Strong confirmation by the cumulative delta, a break above the 80 on the RTI, and you're off. But doesn't always work. This one here broke above the 80, but didn't go very far. Yeah, just 1%. I'm looking for about a 1.4, 1.3% move on my day trades. So on that one, I'd still be in it because it went against and then it came back up, and I would have gotten out early this morning probably with a couple additional purchases. So let's set some alerts then. On the RTI, you right click, add an alert. Gives you the 50 is the first one it lists. If you want to trade both directions, both long and short, if you're on leverage, you're more experienced, then you can go crossing on the 50, and it'll set an alert or trigger an alert whenever it crosses up or down on the 50. If you just want the ones that cross up, then you can just use the one first thing that comes up, like that RTI crossover 50. Once per bar close leaves it on until you turn it off. Again, AA score purchase, and then set up the rest as you want. You can do this for crossing up on the 20, for those dips and retraces. We just showed you the 50, and then you can do it on the 80 or any numbers in between, 20, 50, and 80 if you want. If you want to trade both directions, you can enter a channel. I put 80 on the top, 20 on the bottom, and then that's the alert I have going right now. So if it breaks above the 80 and then dips, and this starts to dips below the 80, I'll be considering a short. I'll probably wait till it dips at least twice before actually implementing one. Shorts are a little dangerous in a bull market. But if I get 1 or 2 dips below the 20 on the RTI, I'll definitely take a long position and feel pretty good about it. Okay, any questions on AVAX or the day trade approach? Okay, let's say you'd rather hold this a little longer. Maybe you want 5 or 10% on a chart, what I call a short-term swing trade. Then I've got a different layout for that. This is my day trading layout. This is my swing trading layout. Go back to AVAX. Where'd it go? There we go. So on the hour, we're in the red zone now. Same on the 30-minute. I waffle between the 30-minute and the 1 hour for the alerts I set. On this setup, I've got the same support and resistance range, the supply and demand visible range from Lux Algo. You can get that here. And then I've also got a video how I set up my charts, and you can get to that if you're on my email list. It's on that video I send on Mondays. So I add the super trend, and then this Trendio LSMA, which is it's a modified moving average. And I like the super trend because it's alert friendly. It's not real accurate, but it's alert friendly, and you don't need perfect entries in a bull market. So but it's good to get them as best you can. It really nailed this recent buy entry right here. The SMA confirms, and so that would have been a really good entry at midnight this morning. And then you can see it to the red zone. Not sure if that would have been the red zone though at that time. Not quite. So, but what I'm doing for my swing trades to figure out where I want to get out, so I go to a longer time frame. First, I check the day. Well, we're already at where it was on the day chart high, recent high. If I go to the week, then I can see back in 21, it was well over $100 for AVAX. So as you're looking for, I see some resistance here and support in this vicinity, around $57, $58. I might use that figure for an exit on my swing trade. So so for an alert on the 30 or the 1 hour using the super trend, right click. The first one that comes up is buy. If you want to trade both directions, you can go with direction change. I sometimes do this on shorter time frames. Then if you want to short it, choose sell. So if you put buy and you select once per par close, it'll keep that until you turn it off. AA score purchase, and the rest. So that is my short-term swing trade approach. Any questions? All right, so I'm going to go through some other options or some other coins a little quicker than that. There will be a replay available of this, so if I go a little too fast, you can watch that and or email me with questions, or just save them for the Friday Zoom call. So let's go back to Altcoin Alert. That was a AA score. I also use social activity, short-term sentiment, sometimes the elder impulse, and I was dabbling with 1 hour projected range. Let's look at this one for a day trade. If I see both the upper and lower are green, that's very intriguing, because that's a really good chance that it's going to go up in the next hour or so. But I'm seeing that here on pre-search, but I don't know if I can trade that on leverage, and I want a bigger move than 2.75% on a chart on my spot trades not using leverage. So that would probably eliminate that for me, but there's nothing wrong with picking out 1, 2, 3% wins. Even on spot trades, you can grow your balance fairly quickly that way. I'm not really seeing anything I like on that one, so I think I'm going to skip that. Let's go to social activity. This one's been pretty good for me lately. I'm going to match up fire or thumbs up on social activity with fire or thumbs up on trading activity. And I'm going to look for something I'm somewhat familiar with. I set an alert on Band today. It's an older project. Alpha and Venus I've traded before, though not recently. CeeLo, I set an alert on this one. It's really took off today. So my alert hasn't gone off because it hasn't retraced. KNC I've been trading lately. It's doing really well. So let's take a look at KNC. Okay. Quick look at the 5 for a day trade. Kind of a no man's land here. Could set a price alert in the green zone here around 94 cents. On the 15-minute, on the RTI, hasn't dipped below the 20. We got a little one here that I might have skipped. 7:30 on a Sunday. I'm usually not trading then anyway, but that would have triggered the alert. That would have been a great entry. Perfect one. So that triggers on this coin. Yeah, it ends up going way up. But for day trade, I'm usually looking for like 1.5%. So that would have been a good entry on that. On the short side, it's pretty good actually. Get an entry here. Yeah, 1.5%. Another one here. Get my vertical line. It crosses here. And yeah, nice move down here. And another cross down here. Would have gone against us at first. Probably pick up an additional purchase and then get out here. So I don't know if I take that one after that ride. And then it dips down again here. And yep, I'm probably out of all those. So those are all good entries on the short side. And those are hard to find in this market because sometimes they're just not dipping that much. Get one dip, couple dips here on Saturday, one on Sunday, none today. So you might want to focus on, values that break above the 80 or break above the 50 and trade those. That might be a better approach for something that's staying up in this zone on the 15-minute chart. Any questions on KNC as a day trade? Okay, let's look at it as a swing trade. Though, yeah, I'll probably use a different sort on Altcoin Alert to find it. The swing trades. I tend to use the long-term sentiment more for those. But regardless, since we're here, this buy wasn't that great, and it would have gone off in the red zone on the 30-minute chart. But we can go to the day chart, see if we have it's past the recent highs, but it's got a lot of room to move. It's well over $4 in May of 22, so we're not even to $1 yet. So it's still got room to move in that regard. I feel better if I see a recent high on a short-term swing trade. So it's in the buy zone now. I've been doing this lately. Well, we don't have confirmation on the SMA, but sometimes if the buy has gone off and I've missed it and it comes back to where the buy had gone off, you can see the buy goes off right about here, and that's where we are now. So that could be an entry if you want to hold it for a while, but I'm not really loving this setup. On the hour, still in the buy, but again at the top of the red zone. Yeah, I'm kind of waffling on this one. But again, if you're going to hold it for a few weeks, just use that. Go to the week chart and use some of those values for your exit point. Any questions on KNC? Okay, we'll look at one more on Altcoin Alert before we head to iCoinPro. Let's look at we'll just do a swing trade here with a long-term sentiment sort. So with this one, I'm going to match up with the Elder Impulse Daily sentiment. You can hover over the question mark to see what this actually is. This is what people are talking about on Twitter, and it compares the last 24 hours, the last 20 days. And I'll match that up with the Elder Impulse Daily, which is a technical indicator. And then I'm going to look for something I know trades where I like to trade. So Alpha we mentioned earlier, XRP we talked about in the beginning. We should look at that one. Yeah, we looked at AVAX. Mina I traded on Coinbase a few weeks ago. Did okay with it. Let's go for the XRP though, because go as a swing trade on this one. I probably would want this to retrace some. Okay, we had the big move today up to 73 cents and it dipped down to about 71. Now it's hanging around 72, 73. So kind of curious to see if this holds. In this situation where I've missed the entry, I'd probably go to the 30 minutes, see if I got one there, but pretty much the same situation. I would just go ahead and put an alert on here, only once, call it what you want. I guess this would be a long-term sentiment. And for my swing trades, I usually use a handbell. I might just go ahead and create this one. So what I want to happen here is something like this. So let's say I wanted to get in on this buy and I missed it. Okay, well, sell comes, it dips, and then another buy prints. Now this takes, a few days before that happens. But, this buy goes off on Sunday night and I get in, then, I'm riding this way up there. So good stuff there. So what we're looking to do is have this dip again and then maybe go back up to this red zone. So let's say it dips and comes back up right about here, 3.5%. It's not great, but if I go back to prior highs, yeah, I mean, XRP was $1.60 up to almost $2 in 2021. So I'd probably look at this area here, 122, or, maybe this area here, 94 cents, something like that. 94 cents was pretty recent, and that was this, it was January last year, okay, or 22. Not that recent. I was thinking this July of last year. But even the 92 cents from where we are now would be a really good swing trade, 25%. That's probably, that would be my target, I think, in the high 90, in the 90s somewhere. Okay, any questions on XRP?
Yeah, CJ, I think with XRP, you've really got to keep in mind that there's a court case going on, and the outcome of that could actually affect which way this goes. So doing a swing
Yeah,
trade on it could be
I,
risky.
I hardly ever trade this for that reason. But a lot of people love this project. I actually just love it. So, it's kind of like one of those things as a trader you have to deal with. In my position, I know people are interested in this, and so that's why I brought it up. But Craig's right. I mean, it's in a court case. If the court rules negatively, though most of the court information comes out has been positive.
Yeah,
So
I agree. But it's also been because of that, it's been very stagnant for a while.
mm-hmm.
So that pump we had last night was sort of a bit unusual.
Yeah. Yeah. People in the chat are chiming in. So Mark's asking, okay, Mark wants to know if I use limit orders or buy orders. That's a good question. Craig and I are both working in a third-party software development project. So I'm using that for most of my my day trades, and the way that works is it's trying to be as simple as possible to competitor to some more complicated software. So those are jump in there right as I go. Those are market orders. So, but when I'm trading directly on an exchange, then I use limit orders more, try to save on those fees. So, and then I usually put my take profit as soon as I buy something directly on the exchange. And that's why I spend a lot of time showing how I look for, prior price history to help guide me where I choose to get out. So I don't usually jump in and then just have no idea where I'm going to get out, with the exception of the coins I'm holding. But yeah, I use limit orders directly on an exchange, and then on the third-party software I'm using, those are market orders. And yeah, Mark wants me to walk through what that looks like. Yeah, I'm not going to bring up, that would take too long. It's a reasonable question, but it would take too long to show you exactly how that works. But email me if you want to go over Coinbase or something like that, and I'll do a Zoom with you, and I can also show you how I sneakily connect to foreign exchanges using VPNs and some other software. So, okay, any other questions before we head over to iCoinPro? We're a little behind, so all right. Let's go to iCoinPro, the RSI SPY. Gonna reload. iCoinPro is home of the 1, 2, 3 dip training and conservative day trading approach. They would be horrified if they knew I traded on leverage, but yeah, well. And there's two tools I like that they have: the RSI SPY and the Buddy Coin Crawler. The RSI SPY, I'm going to sort by the 1 hour RSI, and I'm looking for values below 30 for longs. I don't really have those. The only ones I have are Bitcoin pairs that I don't really like to trade. So I'm going to sort the opposite way and look for coins that have pumped, that are above the 70 on the RSI. And there's a bunch of those because, today's been a pumping kind of day. Litecoins had a big move today. That one's practically a stable coin usually. CELO, we talked about, XRP. Rune, I've been trading lately. It's pushing $10. AVAX. There's a lot of overlap with these tools, so don't be surprised if you see AVAX and XRP and several different sorts. And all right, let's look at Rune. And look at this as a day trade, because that's what these guys do. Okay, big move up today. Nowhere near a dip trade. If you want to set an alert, I'd probably use this area right about here, around $9. That could be a good entry. And then we got a really nice dip sequence on Sunday night before the big move. So that would be a good. So this one looks pretty good. If you get an entry on the 20, rising above the 20 on the RTI. Breaks above the 50. This break above the 50 did pretty well. This break below did pretty well. This break below is a fake out. So let's go with a vertical line. So if you took this one on a short, it goes against you about 3% before it comes down about 4%. So that would have been a good trade had you done a ladder buy. But on shorts, limit your ladder buys and have a stop loss. And the break above the 50 is here. Big move up. The second move above the 80 did pretty well. It has strong confirmation, but it peters out, dips a little bit, and then goes back up. So that would have been a pretty good entry on the 80. Hasn't dipped below the 50 since. So that, or dipped below the 80, no, dipped below the 50 since Sunday night. So, okay. So I would, I like breaks above the 50 and the 80 and the 20 on the RTI on Rune right now. All those could be potentially lucrative. I got 3 questions in the chat. Okay. 23 is asking, well, thank you. And who tracks more coins, iCoinPro or AA? I don't know. Probably AA, because iCoinPro limits itself mostly to Binance for its international people and Coinbase for the Americans. So, but I like both. Okay, any questions on Rune? I got time for one more. I will see if anybody wants me to look at something specific. Okay, if not, then I will look at the Buddy coin crawler. And the name of this tool is based on the Buddy coin concept that they have in this group. Where you choose 2, 3, 4, 5 coins as your buddy coins to follow throughout the day. So essentially, I'm going to sort by the low to the SMA. The low is a 24-hour low. The SMA is that red line between the Bollinger Bands you've seen on my charts. So I'm looking for 4% or higher. That just shows me it's moving that day. It doesn't really tell me which direction, which is fine because I often trade both directions, which is why I like this tool. But ZRX, another old school project. SCI, people have been talking about on Crypt Nation quite a bit. But most of these I'm not recognizing. WorldCoin. I traded this one and got out of it too soon. ENJ, I like that one. That's a good one to trade. And it does a lot of this. I like coins like that. So let's look at this as a day trade. ENJ. We will go through this one quickly. It's sitting right on the SMA line on the 15-minute. On the 5, it's starting to head towards the bottom of the Bollinger Band. Could be going through a dip sequence in a little while. Don't want to wait that long, so I'm going to use my 15-minute. And the last time this broke below the 20 and came back up, we had this nice move here. Broke above the 50, continued on, broke above the 80. So here's our 20 break. Did well. 50 break, did well. Or you can just stay in, get your 20 break and stay in. You've got recent resistance here at 68 cents. That would have been a fine exit, give or take. If you went to the top of this area, you'd still be in that trade. If you're at the bottom of it, you would have gotten out here. So, and then when it broke above the 80, it went against you first, right about here, down 2.5%, then came back up 2%. So, with the ladder buy, that would have been a good trade there. So you can do your alerts on the RTI. Oh, okay. All right, I'll deal with that a little later. I'm going to, against my better judgment, I'm going to short Matic at 124. So, but it'll be very cautious. So, yeah, crossover on the 50. You can put that on once per bar close, so it'll stay on until you turn it off. You could also crossing up on the 20. Or do a separate alert, crossing up on the 80. Or just do the 20 and ride it. All those are valid approaches. Okay, actually got another Zoom coming up, so I'm gonna have to wrap this up. I've got time for one more question if you guys have any. All right, well, I will wrap it up here. And thanks to you guys for attending live. I appreciate it. If you're watching on the recording, I'd rather see you live, but at least check out the pinned comment. And the opportunities listed in there. It helps support the channel. You guys have a good week trading. Hopefully I'll see you Friday. Bye.